All right, welcome back to the Corner Arcade. All right, so I just was randomly playing NBA Shootout, sorry, NBA '07 to life, and decided to upload a little footage. Um, this was taken straight off my TV from my little stand with my phone, so it's not exactly the highest quality, but I just wanted to record as I was playing, messing around, and I was thinking like, why don't I just talk about it? So this is what I'm going to do. NBA '07 to life. To me, another stereotype in the PlayStation 2 library. One of so many games gets lost in the shuffle. Maybe not the greatest of all time, but certainly a game that's worth a little attention. And I'll give you the quick pros and cons. So the pros: fast gameplay. If you've played any modern sports games, modern 2Ks, whatever, the gameplay at times can be a little slow. Yes, the graphics are great, but graphics do not equal fun and gameplay. Graphics are just one component. So, and I had my screen a little bright, so it recorded even brighter. So that's why it looks like that. But anyway, fast gameplay. This game gets up and down. It's fun. Easy controls. It's definitely the second thing. This is a pick up and play. I haven't played this game in probably like 4 years, maybe less. I honestly can't remember the last time I played it. Definitely don't remember the last time I played it for PS2. And I will tell you that I literally could guess the shooting button, uh, right analog stick for my freestyle dribble, stealing, all that stuff. It's just very intuitive and simple, and that's another reason I love the PlayStation 2. They kept it simple, but it's still beautiful. And lastly, the TV presentation. As a pro, we complain a lot of times, or at least I do, with modern console games, like you only have one sports title per console. Literally, there's only NBA 2K, there's only Madden, there's only NHL by EA Sports, and there's only MLB The Show. In the PS2 era, there's way more titles, and yet they did a better job of giving you a television presentation. For example, in Major League Baseball 2K5, they have the MLB Sunday Night Baseball presentation run ESPN. In NHL 2K5, they use the ESPN NHL license. In Even in MVP baseball, the announcing in that game and the presentation looks a lot like Fox. If you play NBA Live 2004, which I'll do some footage on, having Marv Albert in the game, it feels like you're watching the NBA on NBC. And lastly, in this game, you have the NBA on TNT, and the presentation is all over the screen. Even though it's an arcade style game, they give you a TV style presentation, which is very cool. What are the cons of this game? All right, simple con. It is a little clunky at times. So because it's fast paced, and obviously it's not modern graphics, so maybe at times it feels clunky when you're doing a move in the lane and you're like spinning and it feels like you're shooting with the wrong hand if you're going in a certain direction. Little things like that. I would say because of that, number two, it is not quite as polished as NBA Live or NBA Shootout. That's a fair comment. NBA Live and NBA Shootout at the time in the mid 2000s were certainly, along with NBA 2K, were certainly the dominant players. NBA Shootout, I'll do a video on at some point in the near future, but that was a 989. That was really the precursor to this, as it was like 989 Sports is what Sony basically took over for the NBA games and the MLB The Show games. But NBA Shootout 2004 was a little bit more polished than this in some regards. Felt a little less clunky. But this is like a spiritual successor in a lot of ways. But the real point of the NBA '07 to life, just like '06, but the real point of '07 to life was that it added an element of a story in how you became an NBA player, and you could do a story mode instead of just playing the games. They had the standards at the time, the All Star Game, the street options, like to play like a little fun pickup game where you run around and pick up the basketball against an opponent and you have to shoot and make a shot from a certain spot, and whoever controls that spot by making the shot owns it, and if you control more spots on the court at the end, then you win. So it had modes like that. NBA Live was like the king of that. In 2005 they had the full All-Star game options, so you used to be able to do everything you could do in All-Star Weekend. So the drills, the 3-point contest, and the dunk contest. Stuff that you can't do in the modern games. I think you can do it in like certain modes, but you can't just do it in exhibition offline anytime you want. So there were certainly those aspects to this game, but they thought in making '07 to life that they were going to excel with the story mode. And to be fair, they were a little ahead of their time because if you think about it, Madden over the last 10, 12 years, or at least in the last 8 years, has really focused on the story mode of becoming a football player, more so than honestly even their gameplay. So they were definitely ahead of their time in that sense. I don't think it translated in terms of what fans really cared about at the time. It was a nice addition, but in comparing the game to NBA Live and the predecessor, NBA Shootout, or even NBA 2K, it didn't quite hit. Now, on Metacritic, it scored a mixed overall of a 63. Game Daily gave it a high of an 80. IGN gave it a 70. Game Zone gave it a 70. Um, but overall, it was a 63. It's fared a little better on the PSP and about the same on the PS3. So, again, it wasn't, Gaming Illustrated gave it a 74. They commented, decent game that's best played in the story life mode. Daily Game said entertainment is entertainment, but since this isn't really an RPG, it would have been nice to see a deeper dynasty mode. GameSpot said, the life is flawed, yet fun basketball game that's worth a look for anyone that's searching for a different take on the sport. Remember, this is an era where you have many systems, you have many games per sport, per genre. So you would take a chance on doing something a little different because you're in a genre where you have NBA, NBA Live, NBA 2K, and if you just copy what the competition does, you're not going to stick out. So this was a time where people did want to try new things and venture out a little bit. Modern times, games are expensive to make, big production, licensing, all that stuff. So typically, you're not seeing studios step out and try to make games that their competitors are doing. Everybody wants to lock down their little niche. So that's pretty much it. Again, Metacritic didn't give it a great score. I think it's a decent game. I think it's fun pickup game. I mix it in, or I'm trying to mix it in with some of my other NBA games that I'm playing. I'm really heavy on my PS2 right now, so there's going to be a lot of content of the PS2 on this channel. I have a stack of games here that I want to play, that I have here. Urban Chaos, um, Madden, NHL, 2K5, SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth, Here Comes the Pain, all the SmackDown vs. Raws, have them all. The Bond games from the PS2, have them all. Battlefield 2, The True Crimes, Freedom Fighters, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, um, Killzone, Mercenaries, Transformers, Black Hawk Down, Gran Turismo 4, Time Splitters, SSX, Black, Soldier of Fortune, The Punisher, Midnight Club 2, Kill Switch, Lego Racers 2, NHL 2004, you name it. Fugitive, Hunter, SWAT, State of Emergency, 25 to Life, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So the list goes on and on and on and on. SOCOM, the PlayStation 2 is a juggernaut. And that's why, if there's any knock, it would be that it's so deep that games like NBA '07 The Life are just so lost in the shuffle. This game, if it came out right now for your Xbox Series X, people would be excited because it's fast paced, easy gameplay, and they would feel it was refreshing. But, at the time, it's coming out when there's just a lot of other great options. So, again, PS2, always a win. Deep console. Games are still cheap enough, readily available. This is one that's worth downloading or picking up. You can see here a little move by AI in the lane. It's just a fun game, another fun one, and this whole system is just a ton of fun. And I have to admit, I appreciate my PlayStation 2 so much when I played so much of my modern console. And what's happening now is my son is getting into certain games on my Xbox. So when he's on playing that, I have my PS2 hooked up on my other TV. That's why I have the stand over there. And what I did was I started playing a lot of my games, my physical PS2 games, and just kind of fell back in love with the system. And I recommend to any of you younger kids out there or younger people that you didn't really grow up with the PS2, you're not really sure about the games. I highly, highly recommend sift through my channel, but also just go to a retro game store, walk up and down the aisles. Whatever genre you like, the PS2 has an all time MVP of it. Don't be dismayed by the graphics. Don't let that hold you up. Don't let the online, list attitude of the PS2 hold you back. It's not an online first system. It's not your PS3, it's not your PS4. Games were not made for online. They have online, but they weren't made for that. It's not like the modern Call of Duty where everybody's just jumping online. That's not what this system was about. This is the opposite. This was a system that was made for couch play co op, and just solo fun. So I highly, highly recommend go into a retro game store. Some of them that I've featured on this channel. Go in there, walk up and down the aisle, even ask if you're not sure, or put a comment or question in the comments on my channel, and I'll be happy to tell you exactly what games you will need to try or like to try if you're into a certain genre. For example, Driver 3. That's a good one if you like open world, something different. True Crime Streets of LA, True Crime New York City. Some of the all time sandbox open world games, they don't have those games anymore. Go and pick them up. Madden 12 on the PS2, totally underrated. SOCOM 3 US Navy SEALs. Bad Boys on the PS2. SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, little underrated because it came before Here Comes the Pain. Major League Baseball 2K5, arcade style baseball game. I put up some footage of it on this channel earlier today. You name it. You ask, you will get an answer. And the games, I guarantee you, some of the most fun games you've ever played, they're going to cost you less than $10. So I suggest go out, take a look, enjoy, and continue to have fun because that's what we like to do here in the Corner Arcade. And now I'll just let you watch a little bit of this gameplay. Oh, looks like we've already looped through. So, all right, I'll just cut this off now. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the chat or in the comments below, and we'll continue to have fun. Oh, and last but not least, I totally forgot. I recently picked up NBA Street 2 for my PS2. A great street basketball game that everybody must play if you enjoy basketball games. So that's another one I'll be putting up some footage of in the next couple days. I'm off this week from work, so I have a lot of time to catch up on things like working this channel. Have a lot of fun and enjoy your gaming experience, everybody. Peace.